Now, when roads get icy, no matter what, we're out of control in the car because the ice does take over sometimes. So we know it's not safe in winter when you're driving, and you can get yourself into trouble as well, especially if you've had something what can contribute towards the amount of alcohol that you've had, and you can end up having more units in you that you might be aware of. So, I mean, that's from the results from sweets containing alcohol can add to total alcohol intake. Now, there's different kinds of rules for driving when it's cold. I don't know, I'm not sure if there is, but here to speak with us is motorway lawyer Alison Ashworth from Foster Dean Solicitors. Hi, Alison, how are you?
Hi, I'm very good, thank you. Good to speak to you.
You too. Thank you for contacting us. Now, are there different rules for driving in winter in general?
Well, the rules aren't necessarily different, but there are a few things that people do need to be aware of. Particularly when we're talking about snow and ice, particularly on the car. I know a lot of the time people are in quite a rush to get to their destinations on time, whether that be work or whether they're going to visit their family. But they really do need to be very careful because, for example, I know a lot of people might not take the time to clear all of the ice and snow from their windscreen. You and I, and probably a lot of people listening, have probably witnessed lots of examples of cars driving on the roads where, they've just got a little bit of a peephole where they can just about see out of. But that's actually very dangerous. And it's something for which you could incur 3 points for as well, because it means that you're driving with an obstructed view of the road ahead. So that's one of the really important things to watch out for, is to make sure that you clear all snow and ice fully from all of your windscreens, because that extra 3 points could result in you totting up, and you could end up losing your licence for 6 months. So it's really, really important to make sure that you clear all of the windows completely, so that you can see fully everything that's going on around you, because the conditions are hazard enough themselves.
So does it mean that your cases increase in winter? Do you find that?
Yes, we certainly do. Obviously we defend allegations, so we defend drivers if, for example, they're accused of committing an offence such as careless driving or even drink driving. So obviously, yes, unfortunately, I guess the caseload does increase at this particular time of year. People are often in a rush, and they often as well get consumed by the festive season, and they tend not to think as much as they possibly should do about, for example, their alcohol intake. The next day particularly is something that's very hazardous. A lot of people are driving around and they're completely unaware of the amount of alcohol that's still in their system from the night before. So yes, unfortunately, it can be a very busy time for motoring lawyers.
And alcohol intake can be from food as well, can't it? From chocolates, or maybe could it be from something you've been used to cook something with wine or something like that, and it all contributes?
Absolutely, yes. And that's something that a lot of people, again, are not very aware of. There's often hidden units in things such as brandy Christmas pudding or sherry trifle. A couple of years ago, there was a brandy trifle. I think it had around a third of a bottle of brandy in it in total. So people just don't appreciate that. And when that's added to, for example, somebody might have had a glass of champagne or a bottle of lager, and they don't appreciate the extra units that are hidden in these sweets and things like that. So it's really important to check all the labels of everything that you're eating, and of course to count the units. And the best advice really is, if you know that you're going to be driving, just not to drink or eat anything alcoholic at all. That's the best possible defence against any allegation against you.
How many days is it that the alcohol stays in the system before someone's completely clear and safe to drive?
It's a really tricky question to answer because it depends on various different external factors. Your body might break down alcohol at a different rates than mine. So there's no hard and fast rule to say that, if you have 3 pints, then you'll be fine in so many hours. It's really tricky because it depends on the rate of absorption, and it depends on, for example, height, weight, and lots of other external factors. So we would always suggest, if you know that you're going to be driving, just not to drink anything at all, because it's just not worth it. A drink driving conviction would be a minimum of a 12-month disqualification. So when you're weighing that up against the benefits that you would get from, say, 2 bottles of lager or 2 glasses of wine, or maybe slightly more than that, then it's just not worth it, really.
Now, what kind of people end up stuck in this kind of role? Are there young people, old people, or completely innocent people who don't have a clue? You know, they don't think that having a few extra chocolates will add to the unit, etc. So what kind of people end up in these cases?
It's actually quite surprising, really, to be honest with you. Our clients are very wide-ranging in terms of the chocolates and things like that. That doesn't tend to be something that we come across very often. But most of our clients tend to be people who are caught, possibly the morning after, and that can really happen to anybody, and that's the frightening thing about it. It doesn't necessarily matter if you're a high-powered businessman or if you're a mother taking your child to school on the next day. The intention still isn't there. You've gone to sleep and you think that the amount of alcohol has left your system. So it really does depend. And the same goes for people who have been drinking on the same night that they've driven, but they just weren't aware that the alcohol was over the limit. So our clients really do vary from, as I said, from people who really need to keep their licence because they rely on it for their jobs, and then other people that just simply didn't know that they were over the limit in the first place.
Now, there's a lot of new drivers out there as well, and there'll be a lot of people who maybe aren't aware, but I mean, how do people know about all this? You don't see any signs anywhere saying, well, have this much alcohol, that much alcohol, don't drink before driving. You don't see plenty of that around here. I think people are expected to just know, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think there certainly should be more awareness about drinking and the consequences of drink driving. I know, for example, in the first 2 weeks of December, Greater Manchester Police released figures that I think it was around 117 drivers were arrested in the Christmas clampdown for drink drivers. So, it really does show that despite, people trying to make people aware of the consequences of drink driving and the advice none for the road, there are still many, many people out there committing this offence, whether that be knowingly or unknowingly. So I think it's just a matter of raising awareness and trying to persuade people not to consume any alcohol at all. New drivers, of course, are more susceptible to the risks of winter driving. For example, if you have too much snow on your windscreen, or if you commit an offence such as careless driving, because of course, if they get 6 points in the first 2 years of driving, then their licence is revoked by the DVLA unless a very convincing application is made. So, new drivers in particular must be very, very, very careful when they're out on the road in order to prevent their licence from being revoked.
So if they do get in bother, I mean, who would they contact to help them with the case?
We are open throughout the Christmas period and throughout the New Year period. We are on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And our contact number is 0333 323 1830. We're forced to be solicitors, and we have a specialist motoring law department, which I head, and we are able to represent and defend drivers who did any kind of motoring offence.
And your website is www.forsterdean.co.uk. That's Forster with an R.
Yes, FORSTER. A lot of people get that.
I just want to give one more piece of advice before you go, please.
Mm-hmm.
For the new year.
For the new year?
Yeah.
I know the taxis are sometimes expensive, but try and take one. A lot of the time people go out and it's very expensive to get a taxi, but just try and think about the cost of a taxi versus the potential consequences and costs of a drink driving conviction. It could cost you your whole career, it could cost you your house, it could cost you all sorts of things. So often paying double price is often a much cheaper and simpler solution than a drink driving conviction and having to defend it.